Hey, come see us in Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey at the Icarus Festival, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Okay, so Nicole Wallace. So, now you got to know, if you don't know anything about Nicole Wallace, you know she used to work for George Bush. She was, I think, his press secretary, and she covered for the torture crimes and the invasion of Iraq that killed 1 million people. So she's a great person. And so there's this thing where the Democrats don't want to do anything to get your vote. They just want to tell you how shitty the other person is, right? And they often make up shit about Donald Trump. And this is one of those instances where they pretend like Donald Trump is, well, I'll show it to you. Here, listen to this.
I've seen that toast a bunch of times, but it...
Okay, so she's talking about, this is right after the correspondence dinner where they had the White House correspondent, where all the journalists get together. Well, not journalists, I put that in quotes, because they're not fucking journalists, they're stenographers to power, and that's why they're invited to that thing. If they were actual journalists, they would be in a prison in Belmarsh, okay? That's what real journalists are, okay? And so she's upset. So here's what she says about, they do a toast, and she says this about.
I've seen that toast a bunch of times, but it landed very differently this year. Because depending on what happens in November, 7 months from right now, this time next year, I might not be sitting here.
Good.
I might not be a White House Correspondents' Dinner or...
Okay, wait a minute. Is she campaigning for Trump right now? Because I wasn't going to vote for him, but after she said that, I'm starting to think about it.
I feel like she's a bit of a tease. I might not be here next year. Thank God!
Fingers crossed.
No, and boy, there might not be a correspondence dinner next year. Oh my God, what's next? No Met Gala? So, no fucking dinner where a bunch of assholes who are stenographers of power get together in tuxedos and jerk each other off. And then they hire some piece of shit from Saturday Night Live who hasn't been funny forever. Fucking come in and tell them, okay, anyway. Jesus Christ. All right, here we go.
I've seen that toast a bunch of times, but it landed very differently this year. Because depending on what happens in November, 7 months from right now, this time next year, I might not be sitting here.
Oh no, Nicole Wallace might not have a job, and she's probably going to do what she should be doing, which is MILF porn on OnlyFans.
She's on 2 hours a day. Not even that. 2 hours a day with her.
She's on 2 hours a day?
Yeah, I know because my mom watches MSNBC.
Oh my God.
I like how he says my mom watches her.
She talks like a porn star.
I love how you're complaining about his mom, too. That's every day with MSNBC.
Senior citizens are brainwashed with MSNBC.
Yeah.
100.
I think we're all concerned about Nicole Wallace's absence from the news media. Aren't you?
Well, what's so crazy, though, is like you're totally right. They have to make up all these lies about Trump because the things that he actually does that they should be reporting on, they don't want to talk about.
Because they're complicit.
Yeah, 100%.
That's exactly
right. So all
right.
the things you can actually call them out about,
Yeah.
they actually deep down inside love that shit.
That's why it took them so long to impeach him, because they had to find a crime that they also haven't committed themselves. Yeah. I don't know what we would do without Nicole Wallace. And her abject panic as... I mean, Rob Reiner thinks that she needs to look into microdosing. That's how bad she is. If I had all her hair, what I'd be worried about is cicadas.
I just love these like cable news networks. Just it's like they go into like Texas strip bars. So like, who can read? Okay, yeah, you guys can do the news now. Like, have you ever seen Fox News? They all look like Dallas strippers. It's like unbelievable.
This is all like all in on the elderly. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is elderly porn right here.
This is elderly porn.
Yeah. She almost looks like a Law and Order rape show cop. You know, like. I like her. She solves things.
Okay, let's watch it again.
I've seen that toast a bunch of times, but it landed very differently this year. Because depending on what happens in November, 7 months from right now, this time next year, I might not be sitting here.
Yeah, I might be sitting on a dildo for a live stream.
I like this Jimmy Dore.
I might be sitting on a beach somewhere spending all my blood money that I earned during the Iraq War covering for it. Oh, that one got applause. That one was nice. Okay, let's start it again, see how it goes.
I've seen that toast a bunch of times, but it landed very differently this year. Because depending on what happens in November, 7 months from right now, this time next year, I might not be sitting here. I might not be a White House Correspondents' Dinner or a free press.
There might not be a free press. You mean like how during COVID, if anybody questioned the bullshit Fauci, they got immediately censored and fired from their job? You mean like that kind of fucking free press? Do you mean that kind of free bullshit? We don't have a free press. We have a corporate-owned press.
If Trump wins, Dick Cheney's gonna wear my face in an underground in a cloning facility to scare the blood out of children. You don't understand what's at stake.
A free press, you mean like everyone who was pro-Palestine that got fired from MSNBC,
That's right. Yes.
And CNN? Right?
Yeah, that kind of free press. Do you know what a tragedy it would be if I couldn't do my half-assed third in the ratings show every day? Okay, I think there's more.
I'm an old people.
What?
I'm an old people influencer.
You gotta admit, she's no Chris Cuomo.
Oh, there's no Chris Cuomo.
No, she didn't pretend to hide in her basement for a month. I know that. Okay.
Wouldn't exactly fall apart immediately without it. The real threat looms larger. A candidate with outward disdain, not just for a free press, but for all of our freedoms and for the rule of law itself.
Vocal fry, wow. Yeah.
Outward disdain.
Have you seen Uncut Gems? It's like Uncut Gems.
I like how she says that a presidential candidate who has open disdain for a free press. You know, Barack Obama and Joe Biden used the Espionage Act to prosecute journalists more than all the presidents before them fucking okay? And what if you go, Jimmy, what's the Espionage Act? Let's just say it doesn't look good on your LinkedIn account, okay?
You sound like you love Putin. Yeah. You sound like a Putin apologist.
You know what? She worked. You know, you already said that she worked for the Bush administration. This is the face of a hypocrite.
Yes.
Right? Well, maybe this is her second face because she looks a little different from Bush time.
We're gonna lose our democracy.
She used to have a much rounder face, and now she seems a little tighter.
Anyway. I rubbed the Korean baby foreskin on my face. Like Sandra Bullock in Uncut Gems. Did you see her on Ellen? She gets foreskins from Korea. She rubs them on her face.
Here's what I tweeted out about it. I go, as Joe Biden is trying to literally kill the most decorated journalist of our generation, Julian Assange, establishment tools like this pretend Joe Biden is some kind of defender of journalism, free speech, or even friendly to the citizens of the United States, which he is not. Horrible human beings like this is why I have a popular show, so I guess I'm grateful, but I'd rather have to invent a popular show without these kind of monsters propagandizing my neighbor.
He's a decent man. I like that he's decent.
I mean, this is an administration that's getting rid of TikTok, regardless of what you think about it. The fact that that's limiting speech. They want to make anti-Semitic laws in states for another country. This guy, Joe Biden can't wait to sign that. So it's like everything's the boogeyman and the shadow in the cave with these people when there's like real stuff going on. And that's why people who watch MSNBC, they're at a certain economic level, and it's just fear porn at this point. And they don't really care about on-the-street consequences. So if something really bad happens, I'm like, say they get mugged or robbed, that's just a bad day. They'd rather fear porn about Trump gets in and does everything that Joe Biden is literally doing right now.
It's exactly right. They're scaring you about the shit they're actually doing. Every accusation they make is a confession, okay?
I don't feel safe.
So here's no more White House Correspondents' Dinner is yet another reason to vote for Trump. I like this guy. He goes, just checking, but wasn't Trump president before? And they still had that dinner, right? Okay, just checking.
He didn't even come to the dinner.
When people like this go unchecked by the mainstream media propaganda pushers, that's when tyranny happens. Thank God for alternative media. Yes, I'm with you, Info Battle Maiden.
That's a dog whistle racist name.
So, and by the way, you want to talk about the people who actually...
We need less sunscreen regulation.
But they actually did get rid of certain journalists recently. Tucker Carlson was fired from his job, not for lying, but for telling the truth. And not only did nobody stand up and get upset and make you worried about it, but they cheered it on. Here's Ocasio-Cortez, and she's all happy. Remember when she was happy about it? Let's watch.
Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. What I will say, though, is while I'm very glad that the person that was arguably responsible for some of the largest, driving some of the most amounts of death threats and violent threats, not just to my office, but to plenty of people across the country, I also kind of feel like I'm like waiting for the cutscene at the end of a Marvel movie after all the credits have rolled, and then you see like the villain's like hand reemerge out to grip over like the end of a building or something. But deplatforming works, and it is important. And
She left out a few words. Deplatforming people who I disagree with works, and it's important for my agenda. That's what she actually means. Deplatforming works if your goal is to destroy the last shred of institutional credibility that COVID didn't vaporize. Yes, deplatforming. So these are the people who actually want to get rid of fucking journalists who stand up against the war machine and the establishment. And it's the fucking Democrats now. Isn't it the weirdest fucking thing in the world? It's like we live in this backward world now where women are men and men are women and Democrats are censors, and the Israeli Zionists are the Nazis, and the news is lies, and comedy jokes are real, and MSNBC are now conservatives, and Tucker Carlson's actually a fucking progressive. That's the weirdest world.
Tucker Carlson is like Thanos.
You know, I think she looks really pretty here. I think she's using an asshole filter.
Oh,
That is stochastic terrorism. That is stochastic terrorism, Kirk.
Arguably, you just murdered me.
She knows her market, too, to record all these videos in her fucking car. The same way, like, someone bitching about, like, a Starbucks Frappuccino would. Yeah. Like, something happened. Quick, get to my car to film a stupid fucking thing.
By the way, this is on TikTok, and it's getting deplatformed.
She even added the subtitle thing that they teach you to do, like when you're trying to grow your audience. Like she put this in here, like I'm so hip. And then I brought it back to Marvel. Like I'm like the cool politician girl.
The
Like,
craziest
no,
part,
you're a fucking dumb hack.
craziest part is like she was the best of those who auditioned for this role, right?
Yes.
Like,
She
right.
is hot.
Imagine how bad the other people were that they went with her, right? I mean, it's got to be. I would love to see the outtakes of the rest of the people who auditioned and just didn't get the job, and that's who got the job.
I had to drink the blood of a child on camera.
It's called a Clinton smoothie.
I love that we're all talking about this right now. It makes me so happy.
Nancy Pelosi made me eat her box.
Okay, this show's getting a little crazy. You know, we're broadcasting this show tonight, okay? This show is being broadcast.
Deplatforming works.
So we're only doing the first hour on YouTube, and I bet we already said shit you can't say on YouTube.
You can't talk about a beautiful forced lesbian relationship.
But then we're gonna switch over to Rumble in a couple of minutes. So I like this. This guy, Nick something, said, if by a free press we mean an independent and objective institution, it's the liberal media that has done that by largely wedding themselves to the aims and the agenda of the Democratic Party. Media like Wallace don't seem to give a darn about any of the freedoms that Democrats are threatening. They have no curiosity or concern about Democrats involved in lawfare against Trump or trying to kick him off the ballots, for example, or the Green Party or third parties in general. That's a real danger to democracy, yet they don't seem to care about that. What they are truly panicked about is people not buying what they're selling anymore. They see their influence crumbling, and that's what they can't abide.
Climate change is like the science devil.
Well, you know, it's very interesting because like they kind of got to do this dance because they've seen what happens when they get fired. They have no marketplace. If you like Chris Cuomo being picked up by Patrick Bet-David is the biggest lifeline any of them ever got. Because when you saw like who was the other guy that had a show on CNN and then he was the guy
Don Lemon.
Yeah, you see his views? He was getting less than Sam Tripoli views on YouTube, you know? So it's like there's nothing there.
Don Lemon, repeat once a week. What's that? Oh, he's doing pretty good. PBD, he's solid.
He might be regretting
he's
that
crushing
move.
it. Somehow he got anyway. But Don Lemon has contacted me several times in the last month to come on his show, and we keep telling him no, and they keep sending emails. He's a big fan of Jimmy's. I'm like, you fucking don't bullshit me. He does. If he watched the show, he would hate me, and so I don't want to go. So he get like you said, he doesn't get any views. So if I go on, it'll just be elevating him. And the only reason I would go on, and so I don't. I've said no.
Do it.
But I'll take a poll here. Do you think I should go on?
Do it. Hey, go on.
Even if it. I would. Well, yeah, I'd like him to come on this show. Oh God.
That'd be great.
I like the guy that stood up.
The guy.
Hell no, he comes here. You're like, all right.
This became like a
Take it
monster
easy.
truck pull here, you know.
He would be her.
But Brian Seltzer,
Brian Stelter's another guy.
Yeah.
He's invited to the WEF as their fucking Yeah, and as their lapdog, and nobody gives a shit about Brian Stelter.
No views.
Hey, Brian Stelter, why didn't you go start a podcast like I did and see who wants to watch? Because nobody gives a fuck about you. And the only reason people watch CNN and MSNBC and Fox or whatever is because, just like George Costanza said when they were pitching the show on Seinfeld, and the NBC guys said, why would they watch the show? And he goes, because it's on TV. That's the only fucking reason why people watch that. It's because it's fucking on TV. And it's in sports bars, and it's in airports, and it's in hotel lobbies. It's not fucking anywhere. No one gives a shit about those shows. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, you're right. That's why we have 75 fucking singing shows. It's how many times can you just see a dork sing and everyone's like, holy shit! He sings good, but he's ugly. It's the same.
And by the way, they used to be in politics.
Yeah, but it's on TV, so my mom just keeps watching season 97
'Cause it's
of
on
Masked
TV.
Lip Sync, whatever.
Then it's Rudy Giuliani and Dr. Ken walks off because he
Here we're doing stand-up in Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Irvine, California, Las Vegas, Davenport, Iowa, Chicago, Grand Rapids. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to jimmydore.com and don't go to a second reseller. Not good.